Why is President Trump targeting anyone who buys Venezuelan oil? Geek out with me. The Trump administration signed an executive order that says that any country that purchases Venezuelan oil will face a 25% tariff on their exports to the United States. So, you buy the oil, all goods you send here will face a 25% tax. From a policy standpoint, there was no explicit goal of pursuing regime change in Venezuela, although that was a stated goal in Trump's first administration. The EO says that this is because Venezuela is purposefully and deceitfully sending violent criminals and gang members into the United States. So this move is framed as an immigration and national security issue, but there's a lot more here than meets the eye. It's not the first time the US implements a financial warfare model like this. In 2010 to 2011, under President Obama, Congress passed laws that impose secondary sanctions on countries importing Iranian oil. Secondary sanctions basically mean that if you do business with a sanctioned party, you yourself are also going to get sanctioned for doing that. Now that system included something called significant reduction waivers, which allowed the Obama administration to work with countries that depended on Iranian oil, and that if they showed that they were significantly reducing their consumption, they would be exempt from those secondary sanctions. Any proceeds from those purchases of Iranian oil had to remain in a bank account in that country and could only be spent on humanitarian goods like food and medicine. Obviously there was some fraud, but that's a separate story. I was in government when we were doing this, and this policy was a big factor in eventually pushing the Iranian regime to the negotiating table for nuclear talks, because those secondary sanctions hit them hard financially. But is that the goal here? This move will deter other countries from buying Venezuelan oil, which will increase pressure on Venezuela's dictator Nicolas Maduro. And from there, we'll see if it stops him from pursuing this criminal migration. But there's another piece here. China is Venezuela's top oil customer by far. They purchase 55% of Venezuela's oil exports. And so they were pissed when this announcement came out, calling the sanctions illegal. As a former sanctions official, I can tell you the Chinese government always says that, but they're never able to do anything about it. For now, Chinese refiners are pausing purchases of Venezuelan oil. And India, Spain, Italy, and Cuba, who also buy this oil, will all have to figure out how to handle this by April 2nd, which President Trump is branding as Liberation Day, when he plans to announce, quote, reciprocal tariffs. I love me some tariffs. Inevitably, when you take away one oil source in the market, countries need to turn to another one. And in the case of China, that would likely be Russian oil. So Venezuela and China will feel the punishment from this policy, but Vladimir Putin might be secretly giddy.